It says this thing is on. I think it's on. Hello, folks, and welcome. It is Wednesday, the normal time, the normal place, the normal things. If you can hear me and see me, please tell me all the things so that I know that we're all good, so I can stop stressing about that. While we wait, we will say hi to folks in the chat. Zach gets the award for me seeing that first message saying that everything is working. That is awesome. Checking the chat, I see Sonia, and it's amazing that Sonia's here because it's the middle of night where she is, and here you are. And then our friend Game Guy is finally back. We have missed you. It's good to see you. And Jay-Z and Maeve, what's going on? And scrolling, Zach did confirm that technology is working. Looking ahead, there's Jasper. You know, Jasper, it's cool to see you in the chat, friend, because I have been following your videos, and you just seem to have this grit and resilience, right? You had your beauty site that was doing great, and then got hammered, and then you went after it again, and you're just so consistent on YouTube. I feel like everybody in the chat should give you at least the golf clap. But for those of you who don't follow Jasper, I think you ought to, because I think he's going to make it and we're going to go together. I also see Ken. What's going on, Ken? Last week we talked about Ken's YouTube channel. And Ken, have you posted anything recently that we should go check out? Please let us know. There is also Margaret, and she says, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. So the news of the week, well, I don't have a whole lot of news this week. Basically, I'm headed into a kid-free weekend, so I will be doing a lot of work because it's already the 13th of this month, and I'm looking a little tan. So as you can imagine, it means I have not been sitting right here because I haven't. I did not mean necessarily to make June and July more of like vacation months. It sort of unintentionally happened. It's probably a good thing for me. I had planned to take January off of this year after, a 12-month sprint. I don't know if it's 12 months. Can you call it a sprint? I had planned to take time off in January and February, and I didn't. And I was getting tired. And so some opportunities in June and July have come up to hang out with my kids and to do stuff outside, the things that are my favorite things to do with my children. And so I have been doing them. It just means that my other goals, just got to figure out like how to make them happen somehow. One of the upsides, though, I will just mention is that I noticed, because I hadn't checked the stats on the Mega site in a couple of days because I was not at my desk. I do notice like things slightly on the uptick again, like not overall, like not recovered. So I don't think that whatever is happening with the update or the continual shifts that is happening or has happened is undoing itself. I just think that because I've continued to post content on the site, even through the update and then beyond, I think some of that content is starting to perform. And then I think just I'm on the floor now. I found the floor, and then I will hopefully, fingers crossed, start to see things going up like that again. So that's a positive thing. It's not like a major, return to my momentum, but it's just a sign that instead of continuing forever until the bottom, the bleeding would just continue until the site was dead. It has stabilized and then is now once again steadily going in the right direction, which is a relief. It makes me feel slightly more confident but with my plan to continue to invest in the site and work on it. Maeve says she's behind this month on articles, but loving the Mediavine revenue. So here's a question, Maeve. You don't have to tell us what the RPM differences are, but you're welcome to tell us, or you could say it's 1.5 or, the same, or it's worse or double or 10 times. Like, I just want to know how it's been different and how you feel in having moved from, I assume you moved from one ad network to another, but maybe you just started with Mediavine. If you could just share more with us, if you don't mind, we would like to hear it. There's our friend Niche Campus. That's Joe. Joe bit the bullet and came on the stream last week, and I thought he did extremely well, although we did not cover nearly we covered a fraction of the things that we could have talked about. So it was enjoyable to have you. Ken says, nothing to report on the videos so far. I plan to report monthly on that channel. All right. Well, let us know when in the chat when you have a monthly report, when you've posted it, so we can go check it out. Maeve says, yeah, my site that lost 90% is back to 75% of it what it was. Did nothing, posted nothing, just left it. Game Guy says, Prime Day was great. For me, I earned $102 yesterday. Anyone else see a spike? I did not see a spike. And I actually did. I'm actually, right before the stream, I actually went into my Amazon affiliate account because I was curious, right? I said, oh, what's going on with this account? And one thing I did notice is that most of the items that people are currently purchasing through affiliate links on the Mega site, and then the Mega site is primarily an info-based ads site. But what I have started doing over time is creating just like a couple of resources link at the bottom, and just giving people good reasons to click them. Like, hey, this is why you're here in this article. This is another thing that might be useful to you, and just writing a quick paragraph about why with those simple links, like not doing photos or anything. And over time, I'm just noticing more and more people clicking on the links. And before, in the beginning, it was people, they would click on the link and then they get bored and then wander off somewhere else on Amazon and then buy something else. But lately, most of the clicks have been very specific to the book, right? I recommend a book, and then so they buy the book, which is awesome. But a lot of times the books are, items between $10 and $20. And, even if you have a couple percent, whatever the percent commission rate is, you're looking at earning a couple of quarters US off of these books. And for the first time in the last week, I actually got a bounty for the Audible, not the trial, but the Audible premium membership. And I was sitting here spinning on an idea because I'm recommending people look for these written books, but how useful. And I mean, I'm listening to audiobooks continually on my phone. So instead of promoting the hard copy version of the book, actually going through and looking for some audiobooks through Audible that would be really good for that audience, and then seeing if I could get a couple more bounties. I don't really focus that hard on the Amazon Associates program, just because most of the items that I would be promoting that my readers would be interested in are really low value. So it's easy just to throw in a couple of links here or there, and then an extra $100 here or there is kind of nice. But when you're only earning $100 a month with Amazon, getting a couple more bounties, like even 10 bounties a month, with 100,000 page views overall to the site, that would double the earnings pretty quickly that I would earn with this affiliate program. Again, it's not my focus, but I'm just looking for as easy as possible money. It would be amazing if there were thousands of dollars coming out of this, but that's not what this site is really about. And I don't think that's what that audience is potentially looking for. Most of them are looking for information rather than something to buy. And that's just the niche. Anyway, I was literally and I wasn't even thinking about Prime Day. I was just looking at like scheming, thinking through how I could somehow get more of these bounties, because, you sell 5 items and you earn 50 cents for each of them versus one little bounty. So there's like a nice, like, beep. I would like more of those beep things. Checking the chat, I see Sarah. What's going on, Sarah? Feel like we haven't caught up in a while. Maeve says she doesn't mind talking about her move. She says she moved from Ezoic, earning $35 a day without premium, and with Mediavine, it's up to $85 a day on day 6. Anyone else? In fairness, traffic is up about 10%. All right, so you had increased RPM and additional traffic. Makes sense that you would earn more money. And hey, I bet it feels awesome to be looking at $85 a day it's almost like Christmas every day, when you get up in the morning and look at your phone and like, what happened yesterday? Which is why I think it's so addicting. And that's why, and it's really hard to break that feeling of joy when you see that there's money there and I didn't even work yesterday. But that's, I think, also why it's really devastating when you wake up in the morning and there's less money there or no money there. And you're like, but Christmas, it's Monday morning and it's supposed to be Christmas and it's not. Oh man, Zach said that he had a huge spike for Prime Day, more than Black Friday. Well done, friend. I'm so happy for you. Jasper says that he had the similar experience to Maeve, talking about her site that lost a bunch and then just came back, mostly came back. He says 2 original levels, which is great, without necessarily doing anything. People always say, oh, like, you must have done something. In a lot of cases, there's nothing that was done at all on Google's side. And we're just sort of passive, captive audience along for the ride. Joe says he didn't get much of an Amazon spike, but then again, he had very few articles with affiliate content, just added some more this week. And added more a little too late. Well, it is too late for a Prime Day, but it is not too late. And actually, now is a great time if you're thinking about how long it might take for the article to index and rank. I really think that if you have not done it yet, that now is the time to look forward to Black Friday and for Christmas. So really by the end of July, if you have plans for like holiday shopping guides or in your niche, that now is the time to do the research for them, to get them posted, so that if you're headed for organic search, that you will have the opportunity to have those articles be there and to be ranked. So even if, like you say, you create new article guides every year, if you wait till the end of October, I think it's really going to be too late, especially if you have a newer domain that has indexing situations. I have indexing situations. So that's actually a great note. I'm going to make a note for myself to look for more holiday affiliate article ideas. That is now on my to-do sheet after trying to figure out a way to get more Audible bounties. All right. What else? Andy Woolley checking in, hoping everyone is well. And I also hope the same. I am medium caffeinated, so the day is getting better. Maeve says she made a penny on Amazon. Hey, you got to start with a penny, 2 pennies, so on and so forth. Josh is here. He says mobile days today. Zach says optimize, indeed. Someone bought a 99-cent book or a Kindle book, and so you made a penny off of a Kindle book. Oh, simplified gardening. What's going on, friend? I feel like we have not seen you in the chat lately, and I assume it's because you were working very hard and also very busy, but it's good to see you there. Sonia says that she's only making $7 to $8 a day on Ezoic with 33 sessions, hoping it can increase. Sonia, how is the process? How is the progress with getting more content up there? Are you seeing any increases in traffic? Are things going in the right direction, or is it still pretty stable? Andy says that he just sub to Ezoic Premium with 20,000 visitors. Interesting to see what develops. Yes, I'm also interested to see if you think that it is worth it, and if so, how worth it, and all the rest. Keith drops in just literally. He might not even still be here. It was in the chat a few minutes ago. He's like, hey, I'm in Spain. See you later, Keith. Jealous all. Yes, I'm happy that you're in Spain and you recently had a birthday. It's great to celebrate. How's it going? Game Guy says, good luck to Andy. I'm looking forward to any videos about it. Sarah checking in and letting us know how things are going. Says fun stuff, sick kids in between homeschool years and sites can't decide what they are doing. Just keep chugging ahead. That, my friend, is also my plan. And speaking of kids, I do have like a side story. Turns out I'm apparently on a diet, and it is one of my children's fault, and here's why. One of my children got up in the middle of the night and opened the refrigerator to get something out of it. The freezer, actually, where all of my treats are hidden and held. I'm pretty sure he went there for an ice pack because sometimes ice packs help them sleep. They have something cold to put under a pillow, and he didn't close it. So all of my treats, all of my ice cream, because I do love ice cream, all of the kid treats, I even put things like chocolate or just candy. It's a great place to hide it from the kids and just keeps it alive longer. And yeah, it woke up to a lake of melted things in the morning. So yeah, mom's on a diet. Have children, they say. It'll be fun, they say. Zach says that my big site has only 2 affiliate articles. Most of my affiliate income comes from affiliate links in info articles. I think that is an underutilized opportunity with info sites. I do. And I'm speaking to myself here. I need to go back and do more work to make that happen. Andy says, yeah, manic with client work, but on a plus today, just taking on a guest writer for one of my niche sites. Any advice? So when you say advice, Andy, are you specifically looking for like SOPs or like ways to work with them? Because I definitely am not the expert here at all. And the primary takeaway of the learning moments that I have had this year with working with writers is being really clear about expectations and just communicating regularly with folks to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because I'm not always good at that. Tony says that he launched a book, which is awesome, but had loads of issues with Amazon. So it's taken weeks to sort out. That sounds annoying. You keep missing the lives. Well, that is especially why it would be annoying. And I'm glad that you took the time to get here today. Pastor Duke, thanks for dropping in. He says people who have 10,000 sessions per month should consider monometric over ezoic, in my opinion. That's interesting. I rarely have people say anything about monometric, and I would be curious to know why. Like if you have had an like personal experience with it, and why. I would love to know more about that. People saying hey to Keith. Yeah, Keith's in the sun. Sonia says that she's published 30 posts in the last 2 months and daily traffic has increased. So that's great. She says, I'm scared to be excited. That's okay too. Just stick with it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Key says, sorry to rub it in. It's like one of those sorry, not sorry moments. He said, spend an hour this morning. Make sure I have Amazon links everywhere. I need to have them for Prime Day. No rest for the wicked. Are you saying you are wicked? And if so, that's intriguing. And he says, write content to get through the tough times. It pays dividends in time. So yes, I feel like Sonia is on track. You just got to keep going. Tony says he's getting over COVID, but he's written 45 articles in the past 45 articles in the past week. So, I mean, that's making good use of your COVID time. Sadly, I don't know, sadly is not the right word. I don't know what exactly the right word is anymore, because however you say it, it makes people angry. But just about everybody in the circle around me in the last couple of weeks have tested positive for COVID, or either are asymptomatic with COVID or very symptomatic with COVID. And it just feels like a foregone conclusion that eventually I will get it. But so far, I'm still here drinking my coffee, going live on Wednesday. So here it is. All right. Andy says, yes to SOPs, charges, etc. All right. Let's talk hiring a writer for a niche site. If everybody who is there's 24 people, most people lurking and working, but if you could take a moment to think, okay, what is some advice that we could give to Andy Woolley, who has hired a writer direct, let's just assume for the first time. It may have happened in the past, but let us fill the chat over here. It's over here for me. It might be over here for you, but for me, it's over here. Let's try to put some comments in the chat for Andy, and I will make sure to read them. so that in case the live chat does not make it to the end product of this YouTube video, that it's actually contained in there. And meanwhile, other folks are skipping out, which is okay. Life happens. Jasper jumping in with the first comment. He says, I'm going to say SOPs for everything. And I would say, Jasper, tell us more. Tell us more. Maybe you could give us some, not your actual SOP, but some examples for some the SOPs that you do have for your writers. That would be helpful. Frankly, it would be helpful to me. In the meantime, while we wait, Pastor Duke says the EPMB on a low dollar niche on Ezoic. He said he received $3.50 with Ezoic. I'm getting 7.5 on Monumental. Now that's really interesting. That is really interesting. So in the end, with a site that doesn't have a ton of traffic, it doesn't necessarily produce like life-changing income for someone who lives in one of the in the United States, in the UK, Australia, whatever. But somebody who has lives in a place where a dollar would go a lot further, then maybe doubling the amount of income that a site is earning by making the switch to monometric could be life-changing. What do you think about, he said, customer service is great, not just an outsourced helpline. All right. What about the ads? What else could you tell us about what your site looked like and technology and anything else? I would super curious to know. Zach says training videos. Niche Safari Chris does that actually. Show them how you write an article. So you could use like Loom or Screencast-O-Matic and actually spend an hour maybe researching an article live and like just talking through it as you write it. Maybe that's something you pay them, by the hour to watch, to make sure that that information that they can't say later on, like, I didn't know that you did that. You're like, actually, it's in the video. Speaking of Niche Safari Chris, I actually had the pleasure, and I know I haven't seen Chris in the chat. Maybe he'll catch this on the replay. But I did have the opportunity in the last week to meet Niche Safari Chris in person. He and his wife were driving through on their way to an event, and they pulled over, and I got to have a beer with them, and it was really enjoyable. And is one of the excellent side benefits of having this international community and getting to meet people all around the world. So when people travel and you just happen to be in the same space, they just happen to drive through town because the event was close to my town, but I would have driven within a couple of hours to meet them if that's what it had required to connect. But it was really enjoyable, and the only thing I was sad about is that there wasn't more time, and we really didn't get to talk shop that much because his wife was there, and I'm sure she was tired of us. But yeah, that was really fun, and I really look forward to meeting more people in this niche again because they seem to be really amazing all the way around. Checking back to the chat. Andy says, SOPs, video or written? I see people succeed with both of them. Tony says, make sure you have a good structure and layout SOP, and then get a sample back and make a video showing where they felt down, where you edit it and change the mistakes. Ooh, so screen record you reviewing their first written product and then all of the things you did to it differently. I hadn't really thought of that. I'd always thought of, here's how you train them, but actually recording you editing their article. That seems really interesting. I also think that if you are having them write a specific cluster, like it can help to write the first article yourself. Say, I want it to look like this. So you actually have a product that they can go to compare it to. And every time you assign them a new cluster of keywords, or maybe maybe one keyword, you have an article that you can send to them. It says it should look a lot like this. And here's, if it doesn't look like this, we're going to be talking about it. Understanding where they would definitely like reviewing it live, or you could even go through it with them and like edit it live with them on Zoom with a screen share. That's another option too. So if you really are committed to working with this person long-term, then that seems like a really good investment. Tony says, I make them watch the SOP before I hire, and their test article will help me to see if I can work with them. I think test articles are great. So no commitment, I'll pay you no matter what, whether or not I like the article or not, let's just see what you can do. And then if it seems like there's potential there, you would move on with the training. Zach says, give lots of feedback. I tell them in advance to expect markups to cover at least 50% of the first few articles. If they don't fix things the first time you mention them, that is a huge red flag. And he says he sees a new YouTube series coming on. Tony says, make it a part of the application. If they want to write for you, that should be their best efforts. Pastor Duke says that he didn't get the performance hit with Monumetric. So this is back to a conversation we were having a few minutes ago about using Monumetric on a site versus using Ezoic for a site with 10,000 page views or less. Is there now I don't actually know with Monumetric, do they have a page view requirement, or you have to get to 10,000 pages? Because I think I might have said that wrong. I feel like with Monumetric, you have to have at least 10,000 sessions or page views. So Ezoic, there's no page view requirement, and Monumetric there is, I think. Please help me clarify that, so I'm not giving people the wrong information, because I hate for somebody with a news site that has no traffic go to Monumetric and then be rejected and be like, Amelia told me I could. And I'm like, I've never done any work with Monumetric, so I don't actually know. He said, not a lot of generic click here for free software type ads. And they have video ads as well and seem to be working well. I don't have to make videos for video ads. Okay, well, that's helpful. That's helpful to know. Andy says, guess right equals feedback. Yes, and getting as much right early on will help massively. Pastor Duke says, by the way, everyone, you can all call me Duke. The YouTube account is old when I use Gmail as I'm still a pastor, but I'm not into titles. All right. See, you guys, you put whatever you want over there, and then I just read what I say. And so I will in the future endeavor to try and remember to call you Duke, but not gonna lie, I might not get it right every time. Game Guy says, the idea of a video review is amazing. I'm going to mimic that when I hire writers, which is awesome. Duke also makes for a good title. I think Duke is a great name. Tony says that setting the expectation at the interview stage when you're preparing to train, but they must not keeping the same mistakes once shown. That's a good point. Jasper says, that's something I did as well. I published and edited the first 4 articles with the writer present. Now, I would not have thought about doing the editing with the writer present, but that's an interesting thought. So we just jumped on a call and he saw all the changes I made and explained why I made those changes. Feedback and a review video, definitely. So there's some good ideas coming out of this. Duke says that the site I have in Monumetric gets almost 70,000 page views, and I make over 500 a month. 10,000 page views. Okay. So not 70,000 page views, 10,000 page views. Okay. Tony says that you should be making 3 times that on Ezoic. And then Duke says, yeah, should have made that with Ezoic, but it was $3 to $5 per 1,000 visitors. You know, I have 2 sites right now with Ezoic that are making their APMV is less than $5 a month. And you'd think by now that I would know enough about what I was doing to make that better. And Josh is in the chat, or was in the chat earlier. I have a feeling that what I need to do is sit down with one of Josh's videos and actually do some optimizing. But because those sites really aren't a priority for me, I haven't. But it's definitely demoralizing when you feel like you've done the basics of getting something set up and it's making $4 per 1,000 visitors. And Pastor Duke, see, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna work on this. Duke says no paying for premium ads as well. All right, so this Duke, I keep trying to say Pastor Duke. Duke Tabor says that he's 100% at this point behind his Monumetric experience. Thank you for sharing. Duke says, no, different question. 70,000 page views for site, 10,000 requirement for monumetric. Okay, got it. I'm with you. I'm with you. So currently now your site has 70,000 page views and you need to have at least 10K to apply for monumetric. I think I'm with you now. I think. Not guaranteed. Josh says, I am around. There really is a need to switch to the plugin. So I'm definitely using the plugin on both of those sites that are doing not that great. And another thing that I did, and it was recommended, is I did click the button that in the plugin that puts in the default ad placements. And I forget what it is. I'm actually going to scroll to it to see if I don't know if I can find it like on the fly. But there was a button in there that had to do with the recommended placeholders, and Lord knows where it is. So the recommended configuration. So and then it goes like, let's go. So I actually went through and did this, enable the plugin add placeholders. So I did do that. I did do that. And I believe in the settings in the Ezoic plugin in ad settings was where it was. And I did click that. And I watched it for a while and saw no real difference. And so either I did it wrong or I already had most of the placements for the recommended placements already, or I did it wrong. He says, enable the plugin add placeholders, which I did, then change them from every 4 to every 3 paragraphs, or if you make walls of text every 2. I think I mean, sometimes I wonder if I have too many placeholders, just because I went through initially and put them in. I like, for me, I don't create a wall of text. I always take the big paragraph and then just break it down. Every time there is the end of a sentence or a period, I just make a new paragraph. And then I went through and then just add placeholder spots basically after every sentence. I did this a while ago and it probably is a bad idea, but I had done that. So there's maybe there's too many. Tony says your keyword choice can impact your EPMB too. And that is 100% what I think is wrong. I honestly don't think it has anything to do with Ezoic or my placeholders. I just think that the keywords that I have chosen for those 2 sites that the EPMB is low, just aren't that valuable. That's what I think. That's probably what's up, and no messing around with the ad configuration is probably going to fix that. Andy says, with Ezoic, found the extension better than the plugin. I have used both, and I find them, once you figured out how to use them and what everything means, I managed to make both work all right. Jay says, Ezoic has received lots of bad light on Twitter lately. Yeah, in lots of different groups, people have been like chattering, and I mostly ignore everything. You know, it's like, I know what my experience has been so far and how they have dealt with me, and that's about all I can. That's the only place I can speak from. So I really don't engage necessarily a ton in Facebook groups for sure. And then I don't have enough room for another social media platform. I feel like to be successful on Twitter, you got to get in there and actually have something clever to say. And it's pretty rare for me to have something clever to say that can be packaged into a tweet. Tony says the placeholders don't mean an ad will be displayed, just gives them more opportunities to test their placements with their AI. Yes, I concur. And so I tried to create as many placements as possible. And that was my goal. And I did it. Ezoic dumps loads of ads to start and then prunes according to the AI. It takes a while, but you got to trust the AI to find the balance. Yes, that is the theory of how it works. And that's one of the reasons why it can take so long for your potential EPMB to stabilize. Duke says certain keywords and niches do not attract a lot of advertisers, thus lower ad revenue. Yes, I think that is my problem. Andy says that Azoic just brought out Humix. Is it Humix or Humix? Humix for videos. It's going to create a load next month to trial. Definitely a growing platform. Yeah, people who people like haters gonna hate, right? Regardless of the haters, Azoic is continuing to roll out new products. They are continuing to try new things, and we'll see how it plays out for them. I think really the key is for them is to find a product, be able to deliver a product really well, right? It's one thing to be really innovative because that's awesome and fun and cool, but they also have to figure out how to deliver these products really well so that the customers just rave about them. And it's a work in progress, I think. Tony says he tied himself into Azoic with a deal they had for 2 years, and then I had Ad Thrive approached me to join them, but couldn't. Sometimes that happens. Josh says when it comes back to my witty comments, my inability to come up with witty comments on Twitter, and he says pretty rare for anyone. Zach says I assume that hummus mix. I assume that human mix, like humix. It sounds like somebody took hummus and smashed it with mix. Humix. Game Guy says our family has a rule that we only post nice, kind messages or nothing at all. If I have a bad experience, I just keep it to myself. Well, the internet is forever. Just ask Kevin Hart. Right? Or all these celebrities that get these great opportunities and then get canceled because somebody digs back to their Twitter account from the Stone Ages and they said something that they were trying to be funny or maybe just not well thought out, or maybe they're just not a good person back then. But they say something that they are very embarrassed about now. And I'm a firm believer that people can grow and change. So it doesn't necessarily make sense to take something someone said 10 years ago and apply it to them as a person now as a reason to say that they have no value and should not be able to move forward. But another great thing to do would just be to not say crazy, ridiculous things on social platforms that people can preserve, and then it's not an issue. Josh says, everyone should never use the Chrome plugin ever again. So we're talking about the Azoic plugin. He says, don't use it. Simplified Garden says, it's named after a compost with the same name. Maybe they should have done a little bit of research, like actually typing it in and see what pops up. It sounds like Humix needs to come up with a dip, right? It seems like it's something you should purchase with chips. Chips, I mean like crisps, like corn chips. Josh says it's like choosing to handicap yourself to making money because you just don't want to use the plugin and learn it. Yeah, another antiquated way of saying that is to cut your nose to spite your face, and I am like 100% someone who does that. Sometimes not purposefully, and sometimes with complete and total knowledge. And when I'm a moron, I will own that. I will own that. It happens all the time. I should probably post about it on Twitter. There is Adrian. Adrian, I feel like we haven't caught up in forever. For real. I see you in the Icarus spreadsheet. He says this is going to be a slow month, planning on taking some time off to enjoy the summer, which I 100% endorse and support. He says he's popping in to saying hi, and I'm glad that you did. I am also, as you can see, with the golden glow of my summer tan. I have been doing the same thing. You can actually see my tan line right here because I usually wear a rash guard, and just cover up like everything so I don't have to put sunscreen anywhere else. But then I just have like a brown neck, and then everything else is pasty white. Adrian says that he's at a festival, and now so Keith popped in to just name drop that he's in Spain getting some sun, and Adrian is at a festival. It's a rough life our friends have. Andy is talking about the whole industry being trial and error, and over time you learn more as you become more competent. So that is a great point for everyone in the chat, everybody watching this on the replay, maybe years in the future, in 100 years from now, if this is still here. The successful people in this business seem to be the ones that are willing to take risks to try new things. And sometimes those things just fail horrifically, right? You launch a site and the site bombs. You don't earn any money, you lose money, you waste your time, but there's always learning to be had. And everybody is freaked out and afraid of failing or making mistakes. So they're like, can I do this? Or can I do this? But and at some point in this business, in your career, in this, in your making the choices yourself to say, okay, I'm going to try this. It might not work, but then at the end, I will know. And then you don't have to rely upon someone else's advice that may or may not be intended to be for your benefit. Sometimes folks out here give you advice based upon the link that you will click so that they can make money. And it's really hard to trust people when they say, you really should use this product. The best way to know whether or not you should use the product, invest a ton of money, a lot of times is just finding out for yourself and then not trusting me. Adrian says, have fun. I say, we will. And he says, I'm racking up the failures. And I say, high five, friend. Ah, me too. Hashtag me too. Looking at my list of to-dos or things to do. Ooh, one of the things that I get to do after this stream, and I've been excited about doing it, is that, so I'll back up. I'm going to just do a little story time for a minute. I want to talk about my Otis.global case study site. If you follow the channel and you're familiar with me, you know that in January, Otis partnered with me to do a series of videos and just work with one of their H domains. And I picked a domain, and the niche I picked was something that I was interested in, but it was fairly competitive. Like there's some edu sites in it, some fairly well-known big name sites that have the number one spots that have brand recognition. I thought this would be a great time to see what I could do with this. So one of the initial challenges in month 1 and part of month 2 was getting the site indexed, and basically nothing indexed the first month. And then midway in month 2, I used the Rank Math plugin to try and light a fire into the site, and it seemed to work. So things seemed to take off, and I'd say 3/4 to 80% of the articles were indexed, and things were going really well. And so I ordered, I had spent $1,000 on content with buy sell text, and then I did another $1,000 order with a freelancer. And I thought, we're cruising, we're rolling. And then 2 things happened. One, the freelancer wasn't able to work on the content and ended up coming back, just sending the order back after a bit of time, which was unfortunate. So there were some months where there was no content posted, and then the May algorithm update happened, and I would say I went from 80% index to about 25% index. So right now, I don't want to say the majority of the articles on the site are on the index, but that's sure what it feels like. It feels like most things are not indexed. So things before the update were indexing within a few days, right? I was in a place where things were going really well. When I finally did post 1 or 2 articles here or there, within a couple of days, they would be indexed. And I'd be like, things are happening. And I did post some content about 10 days ago, and it's still not indexed. And I'm not sure when it will or if it will, right? So indexing is once again a situation. The problem is, well, the curiosity. All right, so this is where I was going. So since I have decided to work on this site more, because I do know that it seems to be that publishing more content more regularly seemed to help some of my other sites overcome indexing problems, rather than just sit on this project and say, okay, it's not indexing well. I'm not going to work on it. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to take the opposite tact, which is I'm going to go harder on it, and I'm going to publish as much content on as I can. So I took the budget from my other projects and I say, okay, let's get this started. So I did order content from Writer Access. I did order content from Buy Sell Text, and I did get contact from Content Pit, and I know them from the Passive Income Unlocked guys, because that's the service that they use. They offered 10,000 words of content, just to like no strings attached, no necessity to make a review. And so what I did though is I ordered keywords from the same cluster with each service. So I thought it would be interesting to see how the content was different when it came back from each one. And then I realized that I had forgotten to cancel my Jasper.ai subscription. So I just happened to have another 50,000 credits of Jasper to use before, I think, next week. So I'm planning basically to sit in the seat right here and crank out as much as I can using the Jasper tool in the same keyword cluster. And then it'll be really interesting to actually sit down and go through all of the articles to see how they compare and how they are different. I do not know if I will have anything worthwhile to come back and report, or if it will result in a video. But it's like I was looking at my to-do list, and I'm super excited actually to go and look at the content that has come back, because I ordered all this stuff before I went out to the lake with my kids for the last couple of days before the 4th of July holiday. So I have a lot of stuff to review, and I'm super jazzed to go and work on that. Jasper says that Content Pit articles impressed me for the most part. You know, you're not the first person who has said that. Other people have also said that about Content Pit. So as I recollect it from looking at the pricing, it's slightly, well, not slightly, it costs more. I think to get the best deal on their content, you have to order more. So if you wanted just one article at a time, you would end up paying more per word than some people are comfortable with. But in the same vein, it's not as much as some other providers who are charging 6, 8, 9, 10 cents a word. It's more in like the 4 to 5 cents a word range, maybe a little more. But so I'm curious to see if spending more per word with Content Pit would produce dramatically better content than spending 2 cents a word with Writer Access, or doing the articles myself with Jasper. So that is what, literally after I hit end stream, the little button at the bottom, that's what I'm going to go do, and I'm really excited about it. Back to the topic of failing, experimenting, which I think is very important. Lots of people saying that they are testing new things, like Sarah says, I've learned to make a plan, test things, change the plan, repeat, and then this results in many spreadsheets. Yes, I also have many spreadsheets. I actually had to go through my Google Docs, Google Sheets account and delete a bunch of stuff because my account was almost full. Data is my jam. Oh, man. Tony says, I hate AI. LOL. Yes. And then John says that he's listening to the Wiggles. Jasper says about Content Pit, it says it's a little cheaper than my usual go-to writing service, and that was something blog posts, like Blog Post Now. Like, it's not Passion Posts. It was We Write Blog Posts. Was that what it was, Jasper? Because I feel like that might be it. And if it is, then I have a good memory, and if not, then I'm a moron. All right, folks. I know that it's not quite the top of the hour, but I'm super jazzed thinking about going to look at my content from Content Pit. So I am going to go and do that. For those of you who worked hard in this last week or planning on working hard in the next few days, I'm there with you in spirit. And I look forward to catching you next week. And you know what? Next week on Wednesday, It's actually my birthday. Should I have a birthday stream? What should we do? That'll be fun to think about. It'll be a birthday party. I probably will forget about it and then do nothing and then sit here and drink coffee and it'll be my birthday. All right, folks. Take care. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.